Now, something about, you see, in the last workshop, we did something very basic and started reading the text, but the time was too short and therefore we could not complete it. And that's the reason that I was requested to come again to read the entire text. So in this workshop of 14 days, let us take a resolve that we will complete the text. This is the first priority for us in this text. But I find that there are many new participants. So to take them together.
You see, if I do not tell something as preliminary background, then perhaps many of them will be missing the point. And so today what I have decided to condense whatever I did in 1 week last time. I familiarize you with that, small points, briefly, very briefly. We did very elaborately last time, but we don't have so much time to do that now. So today, as an introductory session, we will familiarize ourselves with the background of this text. And then from tomorrow, we will read only text. And whenever occasion comes, I will go on elaborating the points. So very carefully listen to me today. It is not that from tomorrow you need not listen to me carefully. As I can see that most of you, many of you, have a background of Advaita. That is very dear to you and very natural. To tell you, my teacher also was a staunch Advaitin. He taught me Nyaya Shastra. You can imagine? Chinmaya Shastri of Annambhatta University. He was in Pune and I studied under his feet for 17 years. After doing PhD, remember. And he was a staunch Advaitin, Shankara Advaitin. I do not have any problem. Neither he had any problem in teaching me. What is required is that when we are studying a particular discipline, we should keep other samskaras for the time being at a distance. Why? Otherwise, it will disturb your understanding. So, since we are going to study a text of Nyaya Shastra, I think it will be better you do not mix it with the samskaras that you have acquired through association with Shankara Advaita philosophy. You see, one thing you should remember, that no philosophy is built without presuppositions, a set of presuppositions. Whether it is Advaita, do you think that Advaita is only one? Advaita of Shankara, Advaita of Vallabhacharya, Advaita of Bhartrihari. They are all Advaitins. They are all Advaitins. But they are distinct. Because all of them have a set of different sets of presuppositions. By presupposition I mean worldview. And this worldview is constructed out of direct experience and getting exposure to the tradition in which I am born. Together, I construct my worldview. Now, all these systems, systems of Indian philosophy, how many systems? All of you perhaps know. There are 6 Astika Darshanas. Is that so? And 3 Nastika Darshanas. These are very preliminary things I am telling, very simple things, but these are required to be noted, kept in mind to understand a particular system. Why are they called Astika Darshanas? The 6, they are Sankhya, Yoga, Purvamimamsa, Uttaramimamsa, Nyaya and Vaisesika. These 6 systems of Indian philosophy are called Astika Darshana. Why? Because all of them have great faith in the Vedas. They accept the authoritativeness of the Vedas. People think that Astika means one who believes in God. No. This is not the meaning. What is the meaning of Astika? One who has accepted the authority of the Vedic tradition is called Astika. And one who does not accept the authority of the Vedic tradition is called Nastika. It is not the case that one who accepts God is Astika and one who does not accept God is Nastika. This is not the case. Because in the Astika Darshana in themselves, for example, the system of Sankhya, earlier period of Sankhya, there was no God. Nirishwara Sankhya. In Purva Mimamsa, no God. But Astika Darshana. So this idea you have to make clear from your mind that Astika means one who has accepted the authority of the Vedas. Veda is the authority, final authority. No question of doubt in that. And Nastika just opposite, one who does not accept the authority of the Veda. For example, Buddhism, Jainism and Charvaka. So the Charvaka philosopher, the Buddhist philosopher and the Jain philosopher do not accept authoritativeness of the Vedas. And therefore these systems are called Nastika Darshanas. Nothing to do with acceptance of God or non-acceptance of God. This should be made very clear in your mind. Having made it clear, Nyaya Shastra exactly is now a position. It is the Astika Darshana. It accepts authoritativeness of the Vedas. Clear? This much is clear. So, Nyaya Shastra is Astika Darshana. It accepts the authoritativeness of the Vedas. So, in the morning I was talking of the two values, Abhyudaya and Nishriyasa, are acceptable to the Nyaya system. Obviously, because the Vedic systems are brought together by this kind of theorization that human being acts prompted by a goal. No human being takes an activity unless he knows the goal. To achieve the goal, who takes up an activity to achieve that goal. And that goal is of two kinds. One is Abhyudaya and the other one is Nishriyasa. So Nishriyasa is also acceptable to Nyaya system. He has to accept because he has accepted Veda as the authoritative text of inspiration. Clear? What is that unique feature of the Bharatiya Darshana? It is across now Astika and Nastika. That point also you should note. The unique feature of the Indian philosophical system is this. As I told, it is a holistic system. Any inquiry that a human being makes, any activity that a human being takes up, must terminate into achieving a goal. Maybe if I am hungry, I am going for food. That activity also terminates when I achieve the goal. Let us say I am satisfied, hunger is satisfied. A small example. Up to achievement of Nishriyasa. So that is prompting factor. Kumarila in his Shloka Vartika clearly says that as long as you do not tell the purpose of activity, no human being will take up any activity. Normal human being. Now you are free to categorize. So, yavat prayojanam noktam, as long as you do not spell out the purpose, tavat tat kena grihiyate, who will accept? You ask someone to climb the tree, he will ask you what for? No, just to climb the tree. And am I mad? So normal human being, therefore, has to be told a purpose. Purpose, then there should be some value in that purpose. Maybe achieving some money, getting a house, getting that, getting a job, getting a degree, whatever, there should be some purpose. One category of that. That is one value. Abhyudaya. Achievement. I want to achieve something. That's an impulse. Natural impulse of human being. He wants to achieve something. But for what? You keep on asking him for what he is going to achieve that. From a smaller state to higher state, that he will go on telling you the answer. Immediately ask him, what for you are doing this? For this I am doing. What for you doing that? For that I am doing this. So you go on. He has a purpose and therefore he is doing it. Is there any end to this? That has been the analysis. If you keep it open, it is endless. So, therefore, Nyaya Shastrians, they define them. That is the beauty of the system. So, once you define it, the concept is clear before you. So, itara ichha, something else. Adhina, ichha vishayatvam, abhyudayatvam. Should I? Huh? Itara, I'm breaking the Sandhi and writing, okay? Itara, you all read Devanagari very good. No problem. Itara Ichha Adhina Ichha Vishayatvam Abhyudayatvam. What is the first order of value, first order of prompting factor, goal of life called Abhyudaya? It is an object of a desire. Vishaya is object of a desire controlled by Adhina, a desire to something else. Itara Ichha, I want to build a house, let us say. So house is that Itara, building a house. I have a desire of house, and this controls the desire of, let us say, money. So I go for money. Why? Because I have to build a house. So I am not going to obtain money only for getting money. I am going to have money for something else. So Itara Ichha, this is the controlling Ichha. On that depends this Ichha. So the Ichha for Artha, Ichha for that Vishaya is that of money. So the desire of money is controlled by the desire of building a house. You can substitute anything. Any human activity, there is a purpose, and for that he is doing that. This is the first order of value. He finds value in that and goes for it. And this he claims that this is an achievement. I have achieved it. I have built a house, big house. Now you can see that it's a clear concept now. This is called Abhyudaya. Nishreyasa. Itara Ichha Anadhina Ichha Nishreyasatvam. Everything remains the same. Only a negative has been added here, you see. This desire of, let us say, a moksha, this desire of Atma Sakshatkara, this desire of self-realization is not dependent upon a desire of something other than that. So not dependent upon any other, a desire of something else. After discovering my own nature, my own self, who am I? I don't think anything remains to be known. Kritakrityo bhavati, shanto bhavati. That's all. No desire of anything else. This is Abhyudaya. And therefore, there is no question of any turmoil, any disturbance. Yallabdva kritakrityo bhavati, shanto bhavati. That is the this is acceptable to Nyaya system also. Don't get disturbed. As it is the goal for the Advaitins, so also is the goal for the Naiyayikas. So, don't get any kind of agitation in your mind. Keep them apart and try to understand the system. So, you say Astika Darshana, it is a Bharatiya Darshana. Bharatiya Darshana is unique in the sense that it talks about ultimate goal of human life. And Nyaya Shastra also talks about ultimate aim of human life, and that is nothing but Atma Sakshatkara. Going back to your own form, that's all. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. That's all. As the Yoga Sutra has told you, tada, at that time, after achieving that abhyudaya nishreyasa, drashta is back to its own form. Swarupe, its own form, avasthanam, that's all. So, in this way, the Nyaya system is a system of philosophy, Astika philosophy, having full faith in Vedic tradition. As a matter of fact, in the 9th century AD, a great logician, that is a Nyayika of Kashmir, Nyaya-Vaisesika, he claims that what is the unique in my system? And that what kind of uniqueness there in the Nyaya system, Nyaya Shastra? He says that had there not been Nyaya Shastra, now you can connect it with your all background disciplines. Had there not been the Nyaya Shastra, who would have logically proved the authoritativeness of the Vedas? And that is why in the morning I told you, Pramana Shastra. Therefore, Nyaya Shastra, another name is Pramana Shastra. Nyaya Shastra is called Pramana Shastra. This system developed not only the goal and a definition of the goal, but also the methods of proving the authoritativeness of the Vedic lore, Vedic culture. And he says that, well, what about this system? But every system is using Anumana, isn't it so? Because to prove or disprove, what is the tool available? Ask Shankara. What is he doing? Either if he is not agreeing with the Sankhyas, if he does not agree with the Naiyayikas, if he does not agree with the Charvakas, what does he do? He employs Anumana. And through Anumana only he either accepts or rejects. As a matter of fact, there is the only tool available for us, to a human being, either to accept or to reject. And that tool is developed by Nyaya system. And that is why Nyaya system is so great. It is Gautama, the Nyaya Sutrakara. These are the things that you can spend some time in the library, because if I go there, then perhaps I will not be able to start the text, therefore I am cutting short. some preliminary informations about the Nyaya Shastra. You can read in the library. History of Indian Philosophy by Radhakrishnan or by Dasgupta or by Hiriyanna. All the books are here in the library. Or Yadunath Sinha. Any of them you take up, open the section Nyaya-Vaisesika, and preliminary reading you can do in the library, sitting in the library. Anyway, the founder of the system as available today with us is Gautama. So Gautama also many times written Gautama, anyway Gautama or Gautama. Nyaya Sutra. For Brahma Sutra, Vadarayana. You have here Gautama. So he is the organizer of the thoughts. That was the tradition of ancient India. To build a system by preparing small sentences called sutra. Small statement, sutra. And then organize them in an order to build the whole system. This has happened with Panini. The whole tradition is like that. So Ashtadhyayi full of sutras, Shrauta Sutra, the Grihya Sutras, sutra form. That was the style of presentation, because it was, what was the tradition? Tradition was oral tradition. So you have to remember, and it is easy to remember small sentences. So learn by heart. So when you study Vadarayana, let us say go to study Shankar Bhashya, before that Vadarayana Sutras are already with you. And they are arranged in an order by application of some algebraic formula, rule. And then you can arrange and form a sentence in such a way that you can understand easily. And this is what the Bhashakaras have done. So that was the style of writing. And in the same style, this Nyaya Shastra was also written, and the first text available, organized, disciplined text, and that is Nyaya Sutra. And then this sutra was commented upon. The tradition started. So this may say, let us say 1st century BC, roughly I am telling you, and up to 1000 AD. This is one period. This is called Prachina Nyaya. Old logic. Here, the main thrust was to develop the system of argumentation, because there were issues, philosophical issues to deal with. Many issues were there, whether Punarjanma is there or not, rebirth is there or not, whether there is Atman or not, whether there is God or not. A number of problems were there in the society, and philosophers were in debate. So these were the issues, and they were required to be settled. And so and who were the objectors? The Buddhists. By the time the 5th century or so, Buddha has already come into the scene. Buddha is born, and the tradition has started, and they are now questioning the Vedic culture, and someone has to defend or accept defeat. These people created, there was a need. Now, as it happened in other cultures, it did not happen here. They take a stick in your hand and silence them. Never happened in India. Acceptance or rejection only through arguments. Even Charvakas were alright for us. We were happy, no problem with us. They said something, we replied, silenced. They saw some objections, we replied, silence. Jainas raised like that. So through debate, through method of argument, so we needed a system of argument, and that was the need of the day. And the main thing was issues, philosophical issues. By the time of 1000 AD, you find that two prominent issues are left. Many have been answered. This is a long journey, you can see, more than 1000 years. There is a dialogue between Buddhists, Jainas, Charvakas, and other systems. And the Nyayikas have to answer all those objections. And this is how a huge amount of commentaries were written. Huge means huge. This entire literature is known by the name Prachina Nyaya. Up to 1000 AD. Two issues were left. One issue, whether there is self, soul, Atman. Atma asti vanava. As the scientists also asking today, even today. And Ishvaraha asti vanava. Whether there is God and whether there is soul. And believe me, on these two issues, two texts were written. On these very two issues. And one by one and the same logician called Udayanacharya. He wrote one, Atma Tattva Viveka, and two, Nyaya Kusumanjali. This is to establish the existence of soul, and this is to establish existence of God. Atma Tattva Viveka, another name also is Bodhadhikkara. Another name of the text. Names were very beautiful in those days. They carry the whole thing, whole message. So Bodhadhikkara is Atma Tattva Viveka. What is soul? What is self? And the method is, this is what I was telling that I'm in grief in the morning, I'm telling you, that the method is so critical that whatever questions was raised by the opponents, the Buddhists, the Jainas, those who did not accept God or soul, Jainas accepted soul of course, but of a different type. Each one point by point taken for consideration, meticulously examined and rejected. We are told in the that we should develop the critical method of the West. I would say the West should adopt the critical method of India. In those days, there was no critical method when these people were doing the critical examination of the arguments. This was the position. So, and after that, there was another movement. I am giving a very, very broad outline. There are many things I tell, but I am condensing 1 week's exposition in this 1.5 hours. After that, it was realized by the same person, Udayanacharya, that why such doubts are arising again and again in the minds of Buddhists. What is the reason? that he has some problem, others do not have problem? Is it that we have blind faith towards Vedic tradition? Or there is any other difficulty? And the man discovered the difficulty lies in the language of discourse. The language that I am using to convince you or to refute you was natural language, ordinary natural Sanskrit. And the more natural the language is, more ambiguous it is. And that is I think our computer scientists also will support it. And that is why they have so much problem of developing a natural language processing activity. And they discovered that this is a language which is creating the problem, creating a scope for doubt, scope for ambiguity. And therefore they thought, okay, then we can also solve this problem. And from here we find that there is another attempt of developing an artificial language. Artificial in the sense that in that language, normal dialogue does not take place. Day-to-day dialogue does not take place. It's a technical language, artificial language, mathematical language. Because there will be no ambiguity, there will be no scope of any doubt, and I will be able to convey what I want to convey, and I will be able to understand what he wants to convey to me. To facilitate that, they started building a language, and that language is called Navya Nyaya language. This is Navya. So this is Prachina Nyaya. Now you understand? Up to 1000, the literature is written in normal Sanskrit language, like any normal language that we speak. Realizing that the natural language, the normal language keeps behind some scope of doubt, scope of ambiguity, there is a need to develop a language which is capable of removing those doubts, not allowing any kind of a ambiguity. A artificial language was created, and that language is called Navya Nyaya language. And as Swamiji was telling that language has frightened people. Now imagine, just to understand the value of this development, imagine that I am communicating through the language of mathematics is also a language. I communicate through language of mathematics. Through mathematics I communicate. And one who understands that language, I can, without any problem, I can communicate with him. But others who are not acquainted with that language may find, what kind of this language is this? Same thing is here. Once you are acquainted with this language, and that is the reason that I constructed 3-level course, Swamiji. Level 1, level 2, level 3, because this is not being taught in universities, colleges, institutions in that way. So all the arguments, all the intellectual activities, all the discourses after 1000 AD on any issue are found in this language. Unfortunately, this language is not taught in curricula. Some text is kept and something is told without teaching the language. And that creates a problem, creates vibhishika, and students run away. To remove that kind of a fear from the mind, I constructed this course of Navya Nyaya language and methodology, level 1, level 2, level 3. I am looking for a group of interested scholars who will jump into this activity. See, after reading Tarkasangraha, if you feel that here is an area which is worth doing, worth experiencing, then I will be very happy. I will form a group, and the same group will be called, and next level, next text, and this is how I can create a tradition. So even if Jha is not here, you will have someone to explain the text the way it should be explained. This is all along in my mind, and therefore I am looking for identifying a group of genuinely interested. If you ask me what I am going to get out of it, I have no answer. To be very frank. But if you are interested in experimenting something new, creating something new, claiming something new, then here is an occasion to make an experiment. Particularly, let us say, computer scientists, for example, they can derive enormous insight from there. Why I am saying this? After this language was created, all systems of philosophy, including Shankaradvaitins, started writing the text in this language. Advaita Siddhi, can you understand without that? Madhusudana Saraswati. And if you do not study Madhusudana Saraswati, how do you claim that you have grasped Advaita, Shankara Advaita? The arguments, the objections raised by the Madhvas, and how they have been tackled, answered by Madhusudana Saraswati. Should you not know this discourse part? Who will know unless you are familiar with this language? And that is the reason that we should attempt to master this language also, in order to enrich knowledge in Advaita. This is the reason. Not only Advaita, name any system of thought. Vyakarana, for example, take grammar. The grammatical discourses also are written in this language. Kondabhatta, for example. You cannot understand without that. Take Alankara Sahitya students, Alankara Shastra. Jagannath Pandita, you cannot understand without understanding Navya-Nyaya. The place of symbolic logic in the West, mathematical logic, in social sciences, the same place is of Navya-Nyaya language in our intellectual traditions. You ask an economist, he is using mathematical logic. You ask a physicist, day and night he is using mathematical language. The same is the case with this. Whatever discipline is written, whatever discourse took place after 10th century AD, even today you find that there are few left now, those giants of that order, they are also writing the text only in this language. And therefore there is a need to get acquainted with the language of Navya-Nyaya. And that is why I created the 3-level course. We will have an occasion, if God is great, to do that also. Level 1, level 2, level 3. We can start again. But the group should be ready. That group should be ready that, okay, I am ready to do that. Now, after finishing this, you decide. If you decide, I don't mind, even 10 enough for us. 10, 15, whatever number. Number is not a problem. You decide that I want to jump and do something in this. I am ready to offer my service, whatever way you want me, I will do that. I will be available with that. This is what I want. Then only a tradition can be created, otherwise tradition cannot be created. Impossible. Okay? So, this is in brief the development. The text Tarkasangraha that you are going to study falls in this line of 1080. This is a 16th century text. 16th century text, Tarkasangraha of Annambhatta. Something had happened. I just mentioned that and then I go for other point. While counting the 6 Astika Darshana, how did you count? Nyaya-Vaisesika, isn't it so? Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya-Vaisesika. But in course of time, Nyaya and Vaisesika started merging together because of the similar worldview. And so after 10th century AD, by 10th century AD, the merger was almost complete. And whatever activity was taking place, they were taking place under the name of Nyaya-Vaisesika system. So Tarkasangraha is a text of Nyaya-Vaisesika system of Indian philosophy. This point you should note. Is okay? This much is all right. Any doubt, any clarification up to this point? Okay. Next point now, you see. As I told you that any system, every system has to be based on a bundle of presuppositions. And presuppositions are constructed out of experience. Experience generated by the culture, getting exposed to the culture, cultural ethos, cultural thought, cultural discourse, and that is why Shrotavyaha, you see. So Astika is always listening to the Vedic lore and then Mantavyaha, critically examining. Here you can see, and constructing worldview. So if I have a line in the Rig Veda, for example, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. Get this line in the Rig Veda? Oh, Sat is only one. We call them by different names. Truth is only one. Wise people call them by different names. Okay. Come to the Upanishadic period, you find what you find. Or in the Rig Veda itself, Purusha Sukta you go. What about the plurality that you have? They are not Sat. Are they Asat? You can apply the same. Bahudha Vadanti, one. Truth is only one. Appearances are many. These are all appearances, you can say. The other may say that, okay, this is one kind of construction of presupposition. Other may say, no. The one has become many. It is not that one is appearing many, but one has become many. For example, the gold has become ornament, earring, necklace, bangles, and so many things. But it is gold. Nothing, though the reality is not destroyed. It continues to be. And so why not we should say that the gold has become many. And in the Vedic itself, Ekoham Bhaushyama Prajayeya. So I am one, I want to become Bahurupin. I want to take a different form. The same truth appearing in different, not appearing, becoming many. So Vallabhacharya adopted this presupposition. He says that the plurality of my experience is also nothing but the Brahma himself. The tree is the Brahman, the leaf is the Brahman, the earth is the Brahman, the dust is the Brahman, particle is the Brahman. Because if the source is one, wherefrom many will come. The one source has become many. Now you can see Advaita. The other one is that the one is one, but it appears as many. So the appearing and becoming, these two presuppositions have made the difference in the philosophical systems. Shankara's appearing and Vallabha's becoming. Becoming parinama. But gold has become alankara, means alankara is not a gold. Is it not a gold? It is gold. That is why they introduced two ideas. Vikrita parinama and avikrita parinama. In one parinama there is a vikara, and in another kanimana there is no vikara. When gold has become ornament, avikrita parinama. But when milk has become curd, it is vikrita parinama. Then what is happening? The idea of avirbhava and tirobhava. In one, the Chaitanya is clearly visible, in the other, the Chaitanya is not. And therefore, as a matter of fact, there is nothing called Jada and Chaitanya, everything is Chaitanya. This is also Chaitanya. Then why it is not having knowledge, why it is not sensing, why it is not working, why it is not functioning? There is a tirobhava. There is a tirobhava of that Chaitanya, Brahma, and therefore it is not functioning. As a matter of fact, this is also Chaitanya itself. This is one idea of parinama. So, avikrita parinama. Avikrita parinama. And vikrita parinama as dugdha becoming dadhi. This is an example of vikrita parinama. But there also he will say that it is a kind of an avirbhava and tirobhava function only. Because when the source is only one, how can the second one can come? So you can see worldview is constructed, presupposition is constructed, and on the basis of that, the entire edifice of philosophy is built. It is called Shuddha Advaita. There is no scope of Maya here, because Maya becomes part and parcel of the Brahman as a Shakti, or the Brahman. And there is no question of falsity of the world is very much real. As much real as the Brahman in Shuddha Advaita Vedanta. One presupposition. For Shankara, now you already know, I know better than me. So this is it. So one presupposition. The third presupposition in the Advaita, I am telling only Advaita. For example, take Bhartrihari's Shabda Advaita. Shabda Advaita. Now he conceptualizes from the Vak Sukta of Rigveda that the ultimate reality is nothing but Vak, the Brahma, Shabda Brahma. And he says, Vivartate arthabhavena prakriya jagato yataha. Vakyapadiya 1.1, he says, Anadinidhanam Brahma Shabda Rupam Yadaksharam Vivartate arthabhavena prakriya jagato yataha. So the same, all the same qualification. It has no beginning, no end, ultimate truth, akshara, okay? Nidhana means without an end, without a beginning, but it is Shabda Brahma, Paravak. And that keeps on emerging. So one, you see one, Vak is one, Paravak is one, like one Brahman. And the same one Brahman, Vivartate. Now you see, the problems are created by terms now, you can see. He says, Shabdasya, in the other verse he says, Shabdasya parinamoyam. This Vishwa, this plurality is parinama of that Shabda Brahman. And in the first verse he says, Vivartate arthabhavena prakriya jagato yataha. Are we not to be confused? We are confused. How language confuses, you can see? That the same, how can the same be Vivarta and Parinama together? Is there not? There is a contradiction. Contradiction when? If you apply the meaning of Shankara of Vivarta and Parinama to the use of the term Vivarta and Parinama by Bhartrihari, there will be contradiction. But he didn't, was he mad? He did not use in this sense of Advaitins, Shankara Advaitins. He did use the term Parinama and Vivarta, but did not use in the sense the Advaitins will use it. He used in the same sense. So at the time of 6th century, 5th, 6th century AD, the term, because his background is Kashmir Shaivism. So in that time, the use of the term parinama and the use of the term vivarta were in the same sense. That is avikrita parinama. Without affecting any change, without taking away the reality part of it, it remains. So Shabda Brahma became many. So the Vriksha, Pushpa, Phala, this, that, everything that we find as a matter of object of our experience, nothing but some form of Shabda Brahman. And it is this reason that the whole world appears before us with a name and a form. Shankara, Nama Rupatmakam Jagat. So, Nama and Rupa, that's all. So, Nama, Rupa become Rupa. There is a relationship of identity. I don't have time to go into explaining that. So, what I am trying to tell you is this, that there are presuppositions. And unless you are familiar with those presuppositions, you are likely to miss the point, likely to confuse one system with the other. And therefore, if we want to understand Shankara properly, I must be in a position to understand his presuppositions. Then only I can understand thoroughly Shankara. If I want to understand Bhartrihari properly, I must understand his presuppositions, and likewise I must understand presuppositions of Vallabhacharya to understand this. This is the thing. In the same way, the Nyayikas also had a worldview. They also constructed presuppositions, and unless you are familiar with those presuppositions, again you will miss and not understand what Nyaya Shastra wants to tell you. What are the presuppositions of Nyaya system? I formulated it for easy understanding. Am I intelligible? Please, you can, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. No problem. Clarification is the first priority for me. Whatever I have understood, I want you also to understand in the same way. I may be wrong, you will also be wrong. That you will decide later. But at the moment, whatever I have understood, I want to communicate to you in the same form, and that is why please go on checking that we have understood properly or not. From tomorrow, only text. So, even if little more, Swamiji, is okay for? Now examine yourself. Can any philosopher deny plurality of experience? I am not experiencing plurality, can you say? I am experiencing only singularity. There is no scope of plurality in my experience level, this experience level. I am experiencing abheda and not bheda. That is the ideal goal where I want to go. But at this stage, barring sadhus, I am not a sadhu, I don't have any authority to say this, but an ordinary man, you ask him, even Shankara therefore could not say no. And therefore he introduced an idea of Vyavaharika Satta. At the experiencer level, it is there. Plurality is there. It is accepted by one and all in any philosophical system. Leaf is different, fruit is different, tree is different, atom is different, this is different, that is different. I want milk, I do not go for water. If I water, I don't go for milk. There's no question of mixing. Then Lokayatra is difficult to explain. Then what is to be done? At the philosophical level, you take it to the philosophy. Experiential level, no problem. Everybody is same. Experience plurality. Take it to theoretical level, philosophical level, and see. Then clarity starts emerging. When I say that, this is also made of earth, this is also made of earth, this is also platform also is made of earth, then there is unity. And start discovering unity in diversity. Start discovering at that level. So, two answers started coming from the tradition. What is the source of this plurality is granted, is experienced. No doubt about it. The doubts will be now created here. What is the source of this plurality? The source of the plurality, one answer through this kind of a method of discovering unity in diversity, singularity in plurality, one answer was that the source is one. One answer. And for that, the entire, right from the Vedic verse, Ekam Sadvipra Bahudha Vadanti, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. All those Mahavakyas you take. Then take, what about yesterday? What was there yesterday? Yatcha Bhutam. What is going to happen? Something is going to emerge tomorrow. Yatcha Bhavyam. All this together is nothing but one and the same. And therefore, source is only one. One answer. Other answer was, no. The source is not one but many. These two answers were given on the basis of, and they created presuppositions, two sets of presuppositions. So the many is experience, many has come from one. Now coming from one, what is the meaning of coming from one? There are two meanings were introduced. One is becoming and one is appearing. You can easily identify now. If one appears, as many, then you are talking of Shankaradvaitin. If says one is becoming many, then you are talking of Vallabha, Shuddhadvaita, or Bhartrihari is Shabdadvaita, Parinama. Vallabhacharya also is Parinami, Brahma Parinamin. But Avikrita Parinam. Vikrita Parinam. Very much real. This many, very much real, that's the one. Is the meaning becoming. Bahuruping. Sarvam Krishnamayam Jagat. Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. So everything will be interpreted in the line of that presupposition. And there will be no problem of any kind. So this is one. The other set which says that no. Many, source also is many. Many from many. Many at the experience level, coming from many at the source level. And this is the position of Nyaya. So there is God. Ishvara. There is, you'll come to the whole thing is here. So right at the root level, it's at the source level itself, there is a plurality. There is the presupposition again. And therefore the many that you have experienced, this experience is as much real as the experience of the source. Then what is Nishriyasa? Go back to your own original form. These things I am telling you so that you need not be confused while reading the text. So, one, so now I can say, many, one also is real, many also is real. One is real, many is unreal. Many, not one but many. That is, in other words, not one, the source is many. And the fourth possibility now is of the Buddhist philosophers, the Madhyamika philosophers, neither one nor many. Shunyavadins will have this position, this presupposition. So, Nyaya presupposition is this, many from many, not one. Source is not one but many. So, many from many, neither one nor many. This is the Buddhist Madhyamika philosophy. So, keeping these presuppositions in mind, we have to approach the understanding of a particular system of Indian philosophy. Then I think we'll be at ease to understand what they are talking. Unless you are familiar with this, I think there will be a problem. There will be a mixture.
The third one,
yeah.
minus one and plus many or?
Plus many, of course. Correct. So when you have two variables, there are four possibilities. A simple mathematic. Two variables, four possibilities. There is no fifth possibility. And so, through this kind of generalization, you can understand any philosophical system, I will say that even of the West. Because no fourth possibility no fifth possibility is logically viable. And therefore, anything we can understand through this. So, please concentrate on this. That many, so the world is real because it has emerged from the real many. There is God, there are atoms, there are many things we will read. From all this has come. So if they are real, they are also equally real. As here, this is real, this is also real because it has become many. This is alone real, this is unreal because it appears many. And many is the source and many is this experience level many. And therefore this is reality. They develop certain criteria. One argument I will only mention. Now suppose if I want to know this, when can I know it? It must exist prior to my knowledge. You see the method of claiming reality. You can know this when? Provided it exists. When does it exist? Simultaneously at the time of knowledge? No. Must exist prior to the knowledge. As a matter of fact, because it exists prior to the knowledge, I can know it. Because this is the cause and that is the effect. This is object, Vishaya, and that is Jnana. So, Vishayasya Jnanam. So, Jnana emerges later. Before Jnana, it should be there. So, the world is not, you see, these are the philosophical pillars of a particular system. The universe or the world of our experience is independent of my experience. Now you can see? It is not created by my experience. Remember. This is not created by the knowledge or experience. As a matter of fact, the other way around. Because it exists, I can experience it. Because it exists, I can know it. Don't get disturbed. Again and again I am telling you. These are the arguments of the system. Because of the presuppositions, this is happening. So, if you are to critically examine the system, what you have to do? You have to destroy the presuppositions. And that is what has been done. Madhusudana did that, tried to do it, did that. That you are saying that plural has come from the plural, plurality is emerging from the plurality, presupposition. That means plurality exists prior to the knowledge of plurality. That situation has to be challenged. And there have been giants like Madhusudana Saraswati to even answer this such very difficult question. So, if you want to be an idealist, now you see now in the Western categorization, idealist and realist. Shankara is taken as an idealist in this sense. Now, if knowledge is going to create an object, then it cannot be called, because then the object has come later. Then how can it be called knowledge of that object? You see? How can it be knowledge of that object? If I say knowledge of the object, then object must precede. Because then the object also is Vishaya Vidhaya Karanam. Vishaya Jnanam Prati Vishayasya Vishaya Vidhaya Karanatvam. And a Vishaya must precede the Jnana. And therefore, how can Jnana produce that? These are the ways of the presuppositions accepted by the Nyaya system. And on the basis of such presuppositions, only the system has developed, and we must understand purely in terms of those presuppositions. Otherwise, we will not understand Nyaya system at all. And that is not my aim. My aim is that you should understand Nyaya system in terms of the presuppositions of the Nyaya system, and not in terms of the presuppositions of any other system. And that is why sit with a clean slate. This is not going to harm you. Rather, it will empower you to understand and critically examine the positions and arrive at conclusion. You see? Prajna Vivekam Labhate. Bhartrihari he was a great man. He says, Prajna Vivekam Labhate. The knowledge is transformed into wisdom. Prajna Vivekam Labhate. How? Bhinnehi Agama Darshanehi. When you are exposed to other ways of thinking, other ways of knowing, other ways of analyzing, other ways of understanding, then knowledge is transformed into wisdom. And all philosophical systems are interested in generating wisdom. Because it is only through wisdom, viveka, I can choose good and reject bad. That is ultimately going to be the aim of my life. I think I should say full stop, at least today. If I have left something which I had decided to elude for today, then I will take a few more minutes. Otherwise, I will stop now. And therefore, now final one point, and it is this reason that I have been telling, I told in the morning also, now I am telling you, there is no conflict between intellectualism and spiritualism. So intellectualism is just a sadhana. Nyaya has provided you only a sadhana. Sadhya has to be identified by you. And to achieve that, to arrive at a conclusion, you need a method of argumentation, and that is the tool developed by the Indian logicians, and therefore there is no conflict. Rather, it is a Puraka Shastra. Jayanta Bhatta, he says, I am an admirer of Jayanta. Jayanta Bhatta says that he is addressing this to Mimamsakas. He says, Kutuva bhivyataha evam klebyam upagataha. You are so much afraid of the Buddhists. They are attacking and you are surrendering. Why are you so much afraid? Now, Buddhists, of the idealist type of Buddhists, they are trying to show that only after knowledge the object comes into being. And then he says, Sakara Jnana, Nirakara Jnana. Then Jnana should be kept Nirakara. And then he says the Jnana, that you see, along with the presupposition that I have presented before you, you will start understanding Buddhism. It is only through reading such texts I have acquired this kind of an understanding of the other systems. The Buddhist says that if I say this is a pot, this is mobile, if the jnana is nirakara, then I should also say this is a flower. Why not that it should be called a flower? Such questions have been raised by Buddhists. If the jnana is nirakara, then how to control, how to say this is the knowledge of mobile and not of flower? So Buddhist is advising us that you accept that whenever jnana emerges, it emerges with an akara, with a form, with an object. So it is a mobile akara jnana. So it will reveal only mobile. This is pushpakara jnana, so it will reveal only pushpa. So sakara jnanavadins, when this was asked to the Mimamsakas says, let us say jnana is not perceived, but jnana is inferred. And then he attacks, Nyayika attacks Mimamsakas. You got so much afraid of that question, and then started running away from the battle. Keep jnana nirakara, don't disturb jnana. Jnana is nirakara. So for Nyaya, jnana is nirakara. And the object is outside that. It is prior to jnana. And because it is prior to jnana, I can know it. Because it is prior to jnana, it exists. And since it exists, it can become the cause of the knowledge. And I can say, this is the knowledge of mobile. This is the knowledge of leaf. This is knowledge of flower. So, jnana is nirakara, without an akara. Akara is outside. If jnana is taken as sakara, the Nyaya-Yikas come. So many methods of refuting Buddhists. Then one akara is in the jnana and the other akara is outside in the garden. You ask. I see a mango fruit in the garden. Now I see, when you say, so the mango has entered into the jnana. So akara is now mango akara, amrakaram jnanam. So amrakaram jnanam, so amra is not outside then. Yes, he says, yes, mango is not outside, Buddhist says. It is projection of your mind. When the jnana has arisen in the form of mango, you are seeing mango on the tree. As a matter of fact, mango does not exist there outside. Then, oh, I see. Then you are going to pluck the mango only here. These are beautiful. I say, you enjoy this philosophical debate. So, there is no conflict between intellectualism and spiritualism. The aim of the system is to drive you towards spirituality. Nyaya Shastra aims at driving human being towards spirituality. And in the world, in that stage, it clearly says that you have to discover your own self. Atma Sakshatkara. And what that Atman is, they have their own presupposition. You have to understand their position in the terms of those presuppositions. Again, something so that I can go immediately to the text next tomorrow. Atma va are drashtavya. This is the. So the Upanishad tells you that ultimately all activities should be directed towards discovering your own self. Atma Sakshatkara. But how to know Atman? If no Atman, there are Anatman also. This world of plurality consists of Atman as well as Anatman, non-Atmans. So unless I know non-Atman, how should I identify Atman? So I should know both. That means I should know the whole universe. And the Nyaya-Yikas say, this is what we are telling you to do. You know the whole universe and identify yourself in which category you belong and try to discover your own self. We'll start describing this world tomorrow. I'll stop today.